Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm Brendan Lee. In this video, I want to talk to you about discovery and I want to talk to you about excuses. This comes from a forum post and also from a client of mine. And he mentioned, and I like getting these kinds of phone calls or these kinds of messages where he mentioned, he's like, hey, dude, check this out. I discovered what an excuse is. And I'm like, great, what is it? So he told me about discovering what an excuse is and the difference that it made for him. And so, in essence, I want to make this video to draw out the difference between living within a concept or having a concept about something and actually discovering, moving more experiential or experiencing that something for what it is. And it can yield some interesting results as far as I can tell. These kinds of discoveries can yield some interesting results. And so he was working, and as far as I can tell, he actually got and grasped in a way that he had not done heretofore, like what an excuse actually is. And he writes, and he was talking about how basically he has a teacher. And his teacher, I think, made some sort of, he had a class where he was in a class, and the teacher was saying, okay, we're going to end the class at a certain time, but then didn't make that class end at that time, and then had a bunch of excuses about why the class did not end on time and other stuff, and also, taking my client's time and violating his own time. It's like, I need to be somewhere. My girlfriend needs the computer. It's like, what the fuck? And then the guy, his teacher, now this is a professor in a college, by the way, which I'm like, come on. Hey, come on, get your shit together. Made excuses, and then he got it. Oh, that's what that is. Like, that's how that works. It's like saying something about an action. Say I take an action or something. It's like what I might say about that action that justifies it. Do you see? And so he got it in a new way, and he's like, man, wow, now that I know what an excuse is, I think I realize I do that all the time. Maybe I'll stop doing that. And he's like, I kind of want to see where else in my experience I do this, because now that he could see it. See? And so this is one aspect of the video here, is this seeing it part. The sight, the grasping, the experiencing, not having a concept about it. So you got it? You follow me so far? So in the domain of excuses, now take a look. When we talk about stuff, there's the stuff, and then there's what we think about it, the stuff. Then there's the stuff, whatever it is, whatever the subject matter is. There's the subject matter, and then there's our concepts about the subject matter. Usually, when we are hearing about things, for example, like if somebody says, hey, don't live your life in excuses and bullshit, right? You hear that. But do you really hear it? Or do you just think about it? Or do you just think you hear it? Because then there's this other, quote, level. Now, again, I don't like to use the term levels. This is other domain. Perhaps better to use the word domain so that you don't make a hierarchy. All right? I'm trying to take this out of good and bad. It's more looking into what is. So there's a domain of hearing about something, and you just have a concept about it. And then there's this other domain, which I really love hearing shit like this from people that I'm working with, because this is the shit that makes a difference, as far as I can tell. It makes a real difference. See, immediately, he's like, oh, I'm going to go see where else I'm doing this in my experience. And oh my God, I'm doing this a lot. I never knew that. See, I never knew that before. Anyway, so this is the stuff that makes a difference. I'm selling that. I should also sell you on a workshop, but come over, do a workshop. They're powerful, not necessarily related to this. This would be more like an apprenticeship program type stuff. So there's these domains. There's the hearing about it, thinking about it domain, and then there's the what it could call grasping it experiencing it, seeing it for real, not seeing your thoughts about it, not seeing your concepts about it, but seeing the thing itself. That's more experiential. Then you go, oh, I get it now. I get how this works. I can see it. I understand it. I can now take action in relationship to that differently. Why? Because I get it. That's, I think, more in the domain of experiential rather than just jerking off conceptually or it is very tricky because concepts can very easily masquerade as an experience. So that's where things can get a little dicey as far as I can tell. All right? So then how do you combat that? Well, be really honest with yourself. What did you really grasp? And in either case, that's a different video or another topic. Right now, I want you to get the difference between thinking about an excuse and actually getting what an excuse is. Because I guarantee you, you make up shit that and this is right. This is an additional part that he brought up. He's like, oh my God, none of them are valid. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Yes, thank you. I've been trying to get these things across, and so often they do not get across. It's like no excuse is valid because that's what an excuse is. See, so now try to watch what happens. Like, okay, maybe we can start more simply. You might know some people that have excuses. You see somebody, they have a victim mentality. They go, life's not working out for me, like maybe they didn't make enough money. And the reason they didn't make enough money is because they didn't work hard enough, or they didn't follow instructions well, or they didn't provide enough value at their job or something like that. Maybe they were late. Okay? They're late to their work. Why were you late? See, the reality. Their body did not show up in a certain location at a certain time. That's the reality. They might have said, 8 o'clock. I'll be there at 8 o'clock. They show up, it's 8:35. They were not there, and they did not keep their word. That's like a fact. They said 8. They did not arrive when they said, period. Their body was not in that location. Why? Because physics. You cannot fuck with that. That's a done deal. Now, why were they late? You talk to somebody with excuses and a victim mentality. Oh, I couldn't help it. I lost my car keys, and then I spilled some dog food on the floor, and blah, 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 blah. The blah, 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 that's an excuse. Now, when it's used, when those concepts are used to justify or excuse the person for being late, that is an excuse. That's what that is. The excuse, right? So you can imagine somebody like this, right? So imagine that somebody like that. You can see clearly that it's an excuse, right? Now you can also see clearly, if you look at this kind of person, that they don't fucking know. They think that their excuse is valid. I have a valid reason why I'm late. It's a valid reason. No, they have reasons. The reasons are not the same as the action. Okay, right. I'd be jumping ahead there. So do you see that? You see how that person, if they're locked up in that world, cannot see it. They do not see that. Their world does not have, you talk like, I don't know, some old military guy that, the bone in my head that makes me give a fuck whether you care about me or not, they took that out when I was born. It's like they don't have the bone in their head that allows them to see that their excuses are bullshit. They just don't see it. They do not see. You get the point. Okay, I'm repeating myself. They do not see it. They can't see it. Not that it is impossible for them to see it, just in their current state, it's just all sewn up. The excuse is valid. That's why I'm late, and now I'm not getting paid enough, and now my boss is yelling at me. Poor me. Oh my God, my life is so terrible. Or you get it? You get it? They don't see what an excuse is. This same ability to not see, we could call it ignorance, is alive and well in you. Okay? On many levels, in many areas. You know, like they have a thing in Landmark. There's stuff you know, there's stuff you don't know, and then there's stuff you don't know you don't know. It's just not there. See? You could call that ignorance. You're ignorant. Ignorant. You're not seeing it. Okay? So you have stuff. So what are you missing? Get the picture. How do you see stuff that you don't know you don't know? Well, got to be open to that possibility, for one. At least you can see it in other people. Wow, they've got no fucking clue that what they've just made up is total bullshit, and it's totally limiting their life, by the way, but you can't tell them that because whatever you tell them is just going to get wrapped up in the same thing. It's very self-reinforcing. How do you get out of that? Well, you have a willingness to do so. It takes some work, and also useful to have somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about bring it to your attention. These are some ways. Or you get rigorous and honest with yourself. Try to discover what it is you're missing. Okay, so that's something that you can do about it. Now, my point here is the invitation, and I'm trying to, I'm weaving a few different things in here, but one of the things I'm trying to do is trying to get you to get the difference between experiencing something for what it is and having a thought about it. And it was interesting to see my client and the contributor to this forum post. When he got it, he could instantly see it for what it is. He's like, oh my God, I didn't realize it. I thought that those meant something. I thought that it was somehow as if okay or made me okay. And he's like, that's not what that is. And so now he's got a much clearer distinction between action and then what people say about the actions they take. Or action and then what people think about the actions they take. You see? See, for example, right? I clap my hands. Why did I clap my hands? I could make something up. I wanted to make a point to you. Me making something up about the clapping of the hands is never the clapping. See? There's clapping, and then there's what I say about it. Different domains. They're not even touching each other, domain-wise. One is a thought, the other one is an action. See how that goes? You take some action. Why did you take it? Well, I took it because blah, 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 blah. No, that's not why you took the action. You took the action because you took the action. It's over. What you say about it is what you say about it. Those are different things. And if you use those things to excuse your actions, especially if they're disempowering actions, then we call that an excuse. And there are consequences to living within the world of excuses. See, additionally, all right? And if you discover, so let's see. So you got the difference between the concept and then going for an experience of what it is. Or like, for example, I had a realization about fantasies once, a small one, or an insight, a little insight. It's like, oh, a fantasy is a thought that I wish was real. And I got what that is. Oh, a fantasy is never real. It's a thought about what I want to be real, you see? That's what that is. That's how that exists. There is no reality to a fantasy. Now, I could make a fantasy a reality. I could have a fantasy, and then I could take action to create that. But do you see how the two wildly different domains? Now, oh, right. Yeah, I guess that's really the crux of this video, or really the point of this video. People can't tell the difference. Well, they don't see that difference, I'm guessing, between thought and action. What they say about a thing and the thing. What they think about the thing and the thing. What they feel about the thing and the thing. And in this work, it is useful to become conscious of the difference, to grasp the reality of the difference. Because then it will show up more what's real. Oh, my excuses don't mean shit. There's just what I do, and then there's what I say about what I do, and they're not the same. Because if you link them up, it can get, in many ways, it can get really weird and really disempowering. Like, I've seen people hold themselves back. I've seen myself hold myself back off of some bullshit story that I have about why I should I do this thing? Can I do this? Well, no, I don't really feel like I can because of blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, you can do stuff. See, and so I would also invite the listener to consider that aspect where you can go ahead and do shit. Yeah, but blah, 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 blah. No. That's using a thought to limit you. There is no rules that say what you can and can't do. Yes, we have laws, but even those, I'm not saying you should go break the law or do bad things. I'm just saying that laws are also in that same conceptual domain. It's an agreement between people. See, it's a concept. And we're missing the difference, I think, a lot. And I think it's useful. And it's useful to discover. In any case, it's interesting, or it could be interesting. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but at least it could be of interest. I think there's a quote, like an Einstein quote, is like, okay, I'm going to butcher the shit out of this. If you're out there and you want to look this up and post in the comments, this is my invitation for you to post stuff in the comments for the algorithm, whatever. Look it up, but it's something like, we have so many concepts that are built up over the years that we neglect and forget their terrestrial origin, ergo, like it's made up. And we just live within the concepts as if they're real, but they're not. Seeing the same with these excuses. Okay, so you got that. There's some difference there. There's some things for you to do about that. I liked it because he's like, oh, I can see what he's doing. He's making an excuse. And right. There's this other world. There's another world if you do make excuses and you're just realizing that you're full of shit about it. It's okay. I had to have somebody call me out too. It's fine. All right? Then you get off the bullshit. And then there's this other world that's much better. What I mean by better, it's more powerful, it's more clear, it's more I can do things, and I do not live in this tiny bubble of like, oh my God, like a tiny bubble of self-importance and how what I say about what I do is if somehow magically like my shit doesn't stink, you see? No, there's this other world out there that is way more empowered than, and by empowered I mean powerful. I don't mean this like there's a lot of empowered this, I'm empowered that. No, I mean actually powerful. You don't have to live as a victim. You don't have to live in excuses. You don't have to live in all this blah, blah bullshit. You can like straight up stand the fuck up and do something. Uninhibited, free, powerful. Yeah? Doesn't this sound good? If not, that's fine too. I don't mind. It's your choice and it's your life. Okay? So that's what I have for you. Thank you for writing into the forum. If you want to help me, I want your help. Write me in the forum. Helps me create content for you, and it helps other people. So it's like a service to me. It's a service to others, and I get to serve others. So we all serving each other. Okay, it's like a win-win-win. So hit me in the comments. Check the links in the description. We also do powerful workshops here. They may or may not enter these domains, but they are extremely powerful events that will make a difference in your growth. I mean, just flat out. I can't see that not being the case ever unless you're totally closed-minded. All right? Okay, so much love. Take care. Thank you. Bye. Catch you later.